Raf, Tom, thank you for joining us. A couple of weeks ago, we put out to the fans to put some questions to the pair of you about the on-field and off-field matters at Crawley Town Football Club. So without further ado, we'll kick things off. I'm sure when you took over the club, you weren't expecting to find yourself in the current league position. It must be a very difficult scenario to manage.
Of course, it's a difficult scenario. As I mentioned in my last interview, it will be a roller coaster. That's football. I think we all know that. But this is where we need our fans more than ever to stick together. We're in the trenches. We fight as a unit. And as mentioned before as well, I will fight for this club both on and off the pitch. So I have no doubt that we've got the right people in the building. And I have no doubt that we will turn this around. And in 2 months, 3 months down the line, we'll be in a completely different position. So not worried at all. No panic stations. This is part of football, and it's something that you have to be not too emotional. You have to think rational, and we're being rational, and we're confident that we're going to do extremely well this season.
Raf, what brought your attention to the club and why did you choose to step in and bite now?
I think Crawley Town is an exceptional football club. I think the fans are extremely special. I think its proximity to London is unique. I also feel like it's a sleeping giant. I think it's a club that hasn't been invested into, hasn't been looked after properly with past ownership. So for me, it's a club which is a blank canvas, has a great fan base, has an incredible base when we look at the existing staff that I took over, and the existing management staff, football staff, the facilities. So all in all, if you look at it as a full package, it's an incredible club. I'm very lucky to be the temporary custodian of this club.
Yeah, Raf, can you tell us a little bit more about your fellow directors, Maxwell Stroman and Ryan Gilbert? What are their roles and responsibilities day to day? And also, I note that Preston Johnson is still listed as a director on the Crawley Town page on Companies House. Does Preston still have any role and responsibility, and what can we expect from the other directors?
So Preston is no longer a director. That just takes time. That's paperwork. So if you were to look on Companies House now, he's no longer a director. We're extremely fortunate to have Maxwell Stroman and Ryan Gilbert. Ryan Gilbert brings not only tech and investment experience, but he also owns a football club in the US. So he can bring that experience. Maxwell Stroman is very, very, very involved in tech, and he works with a lot of partners like Samsung, Sony. So he's incredibly valuable to us in terms of sponsorship, in terms of working with those big tech brands to be progressive as a club and use those relationships. So I think both of them add a lot of value. And not only that, there will be some news coming soon with some more board directors coming on board. So keep out for that, because that's going to be very exciting news.
Raf, how would you describe your relationship with Scott Lindsay, and do you ever discuss tactics and formations with him? We know previous ownership liked to have a big say on that. In terms of your model, how do you approach it, and what has your relationship with Scott been like so far?
My relationship with Scott is extremely close. I obviously brought him back at the beginning of the season. I respect him immensely. I think his work ethic is second to none. So we speak regularly, I'd say a couple of times a week. In terms of formations, players, that's Scott's remit. I don't micromanage Scott. We hired him for a reason, because we think he's one of the best managers in the league. So yep, our relationship is very strong. And in terms of tactics, that's it. That's his job, and I leave that to him.
Tom, it's been great to see the success of the new club shop. I think the area looks absolutely fantastic. Now we have a larger area. Are we going to be expecting more ranges of t-shirts, jumpers, etc.? And will we be expecting more variety of sizes in terms of the match kit before Christmas?
Yeah, so we've placed an order with our partners Araya for a Christmas restock. That should be here in the coming weeks. And then, yeah, I suppose with regards to increasing the range, as you say, that the shop's been really well received. That's translated financially as well, which is always good. It's great for obviously people to come in and say it looks good, but those have been reflected in sales as well, which is really pleasing. And I think similar to what Raf said in terms of it being a transitional year, I think that was another one actually for the shop, whereby we've long said that the area that we had for the shop wasn't big enough, but actually would bigger area translate into sales. Obviously, now that we've seen it means we can go to that next step, start exploring ranges a bit more. We've got a few new items coming out before this Saturday against Bristol Rovers. You and I were out in Italy designing next year's range, and a really interesting, I suppose, way to look at it from Araya was that they're more going down that leisure wear route, just in addition to that technical side of things. So yeah, it's something that we're definitely looking at. We're all similar to the fans, and it would be great to be able to have 9 million different polo shirts in the shop and 9 million different hoodies. We've still got to be careful about what we do and don't stock, because obviously we don't want to be sat on loads of boxes at the end of the season. But yeah, for sure, it's something we're exploring a bit more.
When you took over the club, it was well reported that there was a sum of around £8 million in debt hanging over the club. Can you just clarify what the situation is with that and if that debt still exists?
Yeah, I think so. First and foremost, financial sustainability and financial discipline are very important. So I understand the fans asking questions like that. Under KB Sports and Leisure, there is no debt. So fans can feel comfortable that the future of this club has no debt, will have no debt. And moving forward, we are looking to invest heavily into the club, into its facilities and into the squad. So yeah, in regards to the debt, there is none, and looking forward to moving forward and building a sustainable club.
Yeah, on a very similar theme, are there any plans to expand the Broadfield Stadium in the near future?
Absolutely. That's one of the things we first looked at when we took over the club. But unfortunately, you can't do that until you own the club. So we're currently in talks with the local council, and fingers crossed, could take a couple of months, we don't know, but we are in process of purchasing the stadium and or partnering with the local local council to purchase the stadium, and we'll see how it goes.
Back onto the field, how would you measure success this season in respect of your expectations at the start of the 25-26 season to now?
This was always going to be a transition season. It's the first season of new ownership. Success for me, obviously, is the playoffs. That's where our first priority lied and lays. However, it is a transition year, so we'll see how we do. But ultimately, let's get our foot and foundation solid and move forward from there.
Yeah, very similar. What are the genuine ambitions for the club for the next 5 years? Is your priority instant success on the pitch, or is it a case of mixing that with some success off the pitch and improving the infrastructure?
I think you have to look at it as a symphony. I think it's all important: on the pitch, off the pitch, sustainability, success, winning games. So all the above. I think that's what a successful club is. A successful club is not just on the pitch; it's off the pitch. I think there's a lot of things that's going on behind the scenes that people don't see. But yeah, I think it's a bit of everything, to answer your question.
Tom, a bit of a trivial one this, but it's been asked a few times. When will the lock be fixed in the men's toilet cubicle in the West Stand and other small amenities around the stadium?
Pleased to announce that the person who sent that question in will be able to enjoy a lockable door at Saturday's game against Bristol Rovers. I think, jokes aside, whilst we have a great maintenance and repairs team here, and obviously, the stewards who are around on match day, they log any repairs or any maintenance issues, so to speak. But yeah, jokes aside, if there are things that need repairing that fans maybe think we've missed, send them in. We try to sort of be overall basis, but some things slip through the net. Fans will be pleased to know we're looking at the hand dryers and all the toilets. There'll be some news coming there over the coming weeks and months. So again, another sort of tongue-in-cheek, but another improvement there. But yeah, no, as I say, if there are things that fans notice, feel free to send them in, because we try to cover it all, but appreciate there might be some things we miss.
Yeah, and ties very nicely into the next question. Why does the club not have a customer service email address and someone employed to respond to general fan queries, etc.? It's quite hard to get a response when going through the club website contact us form. So is there scope to potentially expand this into more of a customer service sort of role or other avenue?
Yeah, so we do have a few customer sort of service emails. I'm linked to two of those. So we've got feedback at crawleytownfc.com. We've also got a no reply at crawleytownfc.com, of which I have access to both. You have access to both. Granted, again, from this question, sounds like we maybe need to publicise those a bit more, which is noted. But yeah, as I say, we cover those inboxes. We see what comes in. Similar to my last question, I suppose, we try to be across as much as we can. But yeah, rest assured, myself as the chief executive, I'm on that inbox, so I see those coming in. And yeah, fair point, maybe we need to publicise those a bit more.
Well, where are we in terms of recruiting for a new sporting director that now Tobias has left the club?
We've made a lot of progress moving forward, and there will be an announcement made shortly over the next couple of weeks.
One for Tom. Why is the club shop not open after games with 3,000 home fans on average? Surely opening it until 7:30 or 5:30 will drive some more revenue into the club.
Yeah, it's one of those ones we can for sure look at. It's a demand-led process, I suppose, with closing the shop at kick-off. But yeah, I think if there's a demand and if fans want to be able to come and browse after the game, it's certainly something we can look at and look at trial in the upcoming games.
This is a question for both of you, but we'll start with you, Tom. Will the fan engagement be revamped under the new ownership?
Yeah, for sure. You and I have had some really positive conversations with the FSA, the Football Supporters Association. Obviously, with the rule changes coming in from the football regulator imminently, we know that there's standards that need to be met there. The conversations we've had have been really productive. We've got a conversation with the Devil's Advocates on Thursday with regards to how they'll be included in that going forward. And yeah, I suppose it's news to come, but one of those ones where, rest assured there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes to improve that. We know how important it is for the fans to have a voice, and yeah, we truly believe that going forward this structure will be really beneficial for the club and the supporters.
It's quite a big one, this, for you, Raf. Hi, Raf. Is there a plan to review the long-term vision of the club and invest in an academy and/or a training ground?
I think the academy model is a good one, and we will get there at some point. But ultimately, our short-term plan is to create a B team, start from there, and then in the future look to do a full-blown academy. But for now, B team is our focus.
Raf, we've had plenty of questions about recruitment. What are the plans coming up for January?
We're always looking for depth in our squad. It's a long season, 50 plus games. So we will always be looking, and our recruitment team will always be looking for players to add to the squad. So we leave it to them, and they've done a good job so far, and let's see how we do.
Yeah, this is a question that could be asked by the pair of you, but Tom, we'll start with you. Are there any plans for the club to reach out more into local areas and improve our general marketing and media output?
Yeah, so I think from a marketing perspective, we sort of touched on it a little bit earlier in that, we know that what's going to drive people in through the doors are, winning games. So we understand that. I think notwithstanding that, we've spoken as a club about the need to tie in more with our own foundation, the Crawley Town Community Foundation. They're our eyes and our ears, so to speak, out in the community. They're the guys that are out day to day, working with schools, working with colleges, running some great programs here at the stadium. It's a great asset for us that I don't think has ever properly been utilised. I've got a great relationship with Darren Ford, the head of foundation. And as I say, they're conversations that we're having in real time, to be honest with you, about how we can strengthen that link and obviously then de facto get out and about in the community more. I think with regards to the media output, obviously you guys, it's like anyone here at the club. Your roles are multifaceted. I think our media output is great. It's like with anything, there's obviously areas that we've spoken about to improve on, but I think as a whole we're really pleased with our output. Just looking forward to building that department out going forward under new ownership.
And Tom, is there any scope to not play Crystal Palace in a friendly at the Broadfield Stadium next year? It's getting boring, getting heavily beaten by the same team every year. Yes, we sell out, but Palace fans also buy a lot of tickets in the home end, and it's hard to stop them. Are there any plans to move away from this going forward?
To be honest with you, it's not something we're not looking at next pre-season at this stage. I think if I'm right in sort of ascertaining from that question, it's more so around the Palace fans in the home end. When we do play Palace, we put the measures in place to try and stop that as much as we can. Obviously, it's difficult in reality to sometimes try and enforce that. We try and avoid having away teams sat in home areas in their shirts. Equally, there's only a certain extent we can do if there's a Palace fan local in Crawley buying tickets in the Crawley end and not showing themselves as a Palace fan. That's difficult, and then obviously if you start trying to turf people out, that it's just a difficult precedent at times to do. I think the second part of it is that from a club perspective, the pre-season games are twofold. It's we want to get a good test into the players, but then equally, like being honest, it is a financial there's a financial side to it too. I think we've been really lucky to get what this season were the FA Cup winners, team playing in Europe, a sellout crowd. So look, I understand maybe the issues that fans raise with regards to ticket sales, and should the opportunity arise to play Palace or someone similar, again, that's feedback that we can take forward. But I think we would be silly to be turning down fixtures of that calibre from both ends of the spectrum, from a performance side and from a financial side. But I appreciate the question nonetheless.
We haven't heard from Raph or Tom in 2 months, and the football on the pitch isn't exactly doing the talking either. Is everything okay?
Everything's fine. I think from a visibility point of view, I think we sort of touched on it earlier, and we've actually spoken about this from a sort of a media point of view. I think, at times, just because maybe people aren't seeing photos of people or videos like this, that's not to mean that there's not things going on. There's been a lot since the takeover at the club that has happened behind the scenes that fans would have seen, but equally a lot that fans wouldn't see as well. Without going into that, as a club, I've been here for a while now. This is certainly the most sort of complete, professional and progressive I think we've been. Really excited about the future and where we're heading. From an infrastructure point of view, there's a lot of really good work that's gone on in the background with training grounds, obviously stadium that Raf's mentioned, which hopefully we'll have some news coming imminently. And then, I think this notion that just because maybe people aren't pictured somewhere and doesn't mean that, Raf and I speak every day, for example. I know it's similar with Scott. Everyone's in constant dialogue. Ryan was at the game a couple of weeks ago. Look, rest assured, maybe just because everyone's not pictured all sitting together with a beer doesn't mean that, everyone's not communicating, everyone's not talking, and we're not strategizing, looking for how we can improve things in the future.
Although we appreciate the opportunity to ask questions, is there plans to host a face-to-face fans forum later on this season?
Yes, there will be in the next couple of months. Tom can give a bit more of an overview on that, but happy to do that. Happy to listen to the fans. Like I said, the fans are this club, and we want to do everything we can to listen to them, hear them, and see if we can make changes which ultimately create a better experience for the fans and, most importantly, win games.
I appreciate, I've been here for a while, I obviously appreciate the want from the fans for that face-to-face contact, and as Raf said, we'll be organising that in the coming weeks and months. I just think one thing on communication, a big thing about certainly what I've learned is that, communication comes from accessibility. There's a great group of staff here, as Raf's mentioned, that, pop into the ticket office, pop into the club shop. If you've got an issue with something, if you've got a question with something, whether it's myself, whether it's obviously yourself, Sam, Katie in the ticket office, we're all here and we're all here on behalf of the club. So if there's issues people have, if people want to come in and have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, obviously can't speak on his behalf as well, but I know Scott operates under the same pretense as well. So look, we're all here for the club. You and I are home and away. Obviously Raf does his fair share of games as well. So if people have got questions, come and ask us. Give us a message online. We're here and we're accessible. But that in-person fans forum is coming, rest assured.